right, welcome back everyone for a new episode of Hidden Gems. This is the video series where I talk about those books that are still probably tucked away in those back issue boxes at your LCS, your half price books, your Second and Charles, wherever you do your comic book hunting. These are some books that aren't necessarily wall books and they're not necessarily the hot books. These are things that you might still be able to find out there when you go out digging. Some are going to be based on things like first appearances, maybe some artist books, some variants, things of that nature. Just interesting little books that may not be, again, the hot books of the week, but some interesting books you might still be able to pick up on the cheap, depending on how your shop prices. So I'm going to give you some market information so you can make the determination on whether, if you find these books, you want to pay the price that you find. Hopefully you're enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. We've passed 1,800. We're on our way to 2K. Once we hit 2K, we will be doing yet another giveaway here on Rennavision. So hopefully we get there sooner rather than later. And with all that said, if you want to see what hidden books I want to talk about this week, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so to start us off, we are going to be rolling as we have been these last few weeks with our quick artist retrospective. Maybe I'll do a full artist retrospective again one of these days once I find some extra time, but for now, I'll just have to deal with doing these quick little rundowns of some of my favorite artists. This week, we are going to be talking about, again, one of my favorites. If the book next to me has not tipped you off yet, it is Ms. Jenny Frison. Fantastic cover artist. I've been collecting her cover art now for a few years, and this is one of her more recent hits that hit with the market, just in case you are not aware of whom I'm speaking about, because again, I'm trying to do this series for new collectors, old collectors, everyone in between, to try to hit a little bit of everything. So this Sandman Universe, Nightmare Country 1, this 1/100, it got really expensive right out of the gate because this guy's pretty hard to find, and it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous cover, and this thing got pretty darn expensive. Again, this is not the hidden gem. I'm just trying to give you a sense of who Jenny Frison is, in case you don't know who she is. She's also had a hit of covers with Something Is Killing the Children, going all the way back to issue 1, where she had the FOC, that C cover, to the more recent runs, as well as those incentive variants along the way that have gotten pretty pricey. And again, these current books, the one of which I have next to me. Now, this, I think, is the one per store, but these are the kind of cool little things where, I know you can't really see it here. It's a little cover, and then you remove the mask, and then you see the image underneath, a la this, which I believe, if you find it without that little cover mask, I think that's the 1 in 25. I think I got that around here somewhere too. And as I said, the bloody version is the one per store version, I believe. And that is this one right here. Again, just gorgeous covers. I really love her style. I love the art. She's also done these variants for Grimm, Boom's newest hit book, I guess you would call it. So some of these are variants. Some of these are just, B covers. And then the virgins, and then you have the, or some of which are incentives, and then one per stores. A lot of different versions of these books. But that's just to give you a sense of who we're talking about. But let's go back through her history and some of the books that she's done over the years. And the first released book, and I'm going to qualify that with book that actually was released in July of 2008, was this Voltron, Defenders of the Universe #1, this B cover, which... gorgeous cover. I do have a 9.6 of this that I did break down and buy because I couldn't find a raw, so I bought a 9.6 of this one for like $300 like a little while ago. Or was it 200? I don't know. It was a lot of money still out of my pocket, but I think that's actually a bargain now based off of some of the prices we see here. Recently sold copies of this one, 9.4 sold for $700. Raw copies, $125, and it looks like a 9.8 took a best offer on $1,500, would actually accepted $800. Still not a cheap book, and not an easy one to track down, to be fair. But I just want to tell you about it so you know that this book is out there and this book exists, and also just give you a little bit of information. I wouldn't quite call this one a ghost, because there are plenty of copies out there, plenty of copies available. They're just really darn expensive. Look, 9.6 asking about $700, and then 9.8 asking $1,500, and then a CGCSS 9.8 asking about $2K with 23 watchers. And there's also 11 and 14 watchers on those other ones. So a lot of people are aware of this book. So this is not a secret book, but this is the first book, the first cover she did that was released. Now, I say that was released because her first work was actually commissioned before this book, but came out slightly after, but also in July of 2008. But I think just like a week or two later, and that is this Hack Slash of Oz cover for Devil's Due. And I think she did this one for Tim Seeley. Now, this one is another one I've added to my collection because, again, I am a fan of Jenny Frison. I've mentioned that before. I've gone to look for these early books, these early editions, these early works because I like collecting that stuff. I like collecting artists' early work if I can find them and if I can afford them. And I believe I grabbed this one for like 40 or 50. Eventually, I broke down and said, you know what? I got to go and grab one because I'm just not going to find it for cheap. I've looked and looked. I can't find it for super cheap. So I bought it for what I bought it for. And again, it's just for me. It's for my collection. But you see prices now, I'm glad I did because $115, June 10th was the last sale for this book that I could find. And there are copies available for this one out there. $90 raw, $180 raw, $150 for an SS90. So it's definitely not cheap. And like I said, I'm glad I bought it when I did because now it's starting to get a little bit harder to find. But in case you find this in a shop, good luck. If you find it, look for this book, grab it if the price is right because this is, again, her first work. And again, came out within weeks of the Voltron, but this was the one she did first. And she's told the story before. My buddy Mark Morello did an interview with her over on the comicbookinvest.com website. Go check it out. And he gives a nice little rundown of nice little interview with her. So go check it out. With that, she's also worked more on Hack and Slash following this one up. This, again, was 2008, but eventually down the line, we do have this gorgeous cover. I've talked about this one before, the second print. This is, again, the first print. I just want to show it again because I love this cover. I do not have this one. I need to find one. I'm just looking for a price that I can, that feels right to me. This is My First Maniac #1. This is the cover B, so it's not an incentive. It's just the cover B. So maybe you can get lucky and find it. Just gorgeous. Let's look in the eyes. It draws you in. Sold copies of this book, $60. 50 for it looks like the A and the B, and $300 for looks like a second print, 9/8 there. So the second print's pretty close to the first print. I believe the color's a little more washed out, and I think it says second print on the cover, but either way, prices are about the same for both. So if you can find either, I would suggest getting them. Again, if the price is right, because right now the price is online. $70, $65, $70 for a lot for just not cheap. So good luck on your hunt. Again, this was 2010, this one shot, but she's also done a couple of covers for the regular Hack and Slash run. The first one being in 2011, she did issue 5, which is kind of cool. It has like a tarot card kind of vibe to it. I like the skull there. Again, not an easy book to find either. But in case you find it in a box, go dig, go look. So a copy sold back in April for only $6, so it's not that expensive for this one. So maybe you can go and track this one down. Asking prices again aren't too bad, but $5, $6, $12. If you can find it, like I said, I like collecting cover art. So if I can find this stuff for cheap, I will usually go and grab it. And then the other cover she did, a part of this run, came a couple of years later, much later in the run, because that was issue 5, and this is issue 25, where she did the B cover, again, harkening back kind of to that My First Maniac cover, but more of a profile view here, but with the skull. This is from 2013, and this thing also isn't that cheap. So $60, one has sold for on June 16th, so just a couple of days ago. And asking prices on this issue 25 are anywhere from about $50 to $100 to $125, all raw for this book. So again, if you could find this one, maybe pick it up if the price is right. Also, if this one can sell for that much, I know the print run's going to be lower. It's going to be a little bit harder to find than issue 5, but still, eventually the tide will pick up and that issue 5 will probably follow suit, because there was a time when the next set of books that I'm going to talk about where these were all like cover price or less and not hard to find, these books. And also in 2013, she did this run of Red Sonja covers here for Dynamite. And again, I'm not going to show you all of them. I've talked about these before on Dollar Bin Digging, because you used to be able to find these in dollar bins, and I would grab them whenever I could. And you could usually find a bunch of these for like $5 thereabouts. And now they're slowly starting to rise up a little bit above that, even the more common issues. But she did a few of these covers. Again, I'm showing you here issue 6, 11, 12. Some of the ones I like. There's a couple of others, like 8's pretty cool with her in the water. A lot of gorgeous covers. I believe there's 18 issues in that first if this volume of Red Sonja from this 2013 one where she did these covers. And there's also variants with some virgin versions to also be mindful of. Not easy to find, but even just the regular covers, and that's what we're talking about. So you dig in a box, maybe you find this Red Sonja run. You can see a lot of these books can sell for like $20 now. Just the regular covers. I mean, that's issue 12 shown there, issue 4 randomly. It's just really if the cover art grabs you, it's probably going to grab somebody else. But basically, the entire run is worth picking up if you can find it for the right price, is what I'm saying. Because you can see these copies can sell for like $20 each. And even when you go looking online, there's copies you can find for 12 and then some for 25. And again, that's examples, issue 12, issue 15, any issue in the run. Again, it's like 18 issues, whatever you can find with the Jenny Frison covers. I would recommend grabbing them if you can find them for like cover price or less, maybe even more in some cases, because they could go up from here and they could get more expensive and be harder to find for you. So take advantage now. Also, during this time frame, she was also doing some Vampirella covers. And these Vampirella covers, some of which are going to be pretty pricey because, again, you can guess the sexy girl covers, it's going to sell as they do. And some of these covers will be more expensive than others, but keep an eye out for it. Look, her art is pretty recognizable. So when you see it, you should be able to pick it up pretty quickly. There's not like a signature to go look for that you can say identifiable, like, oh, that's Jenny Frison's signature. But her art is pretty, I guess, unique in that way, especially within the eyes. So you could just go check, go look, see if it catches your eye. And if it's the right cover, just go and grab it if it's at the right price. Again, these are just examples. I think this is issue like 7, 10, 13 from this run of Vampirella from Dynamite. And these things, again, can sell from anywhere as cheap as like $9 up to $20 to $40. And again, these are just like A, B cover. Like, these are not incentives. You know, there may be incentives for some of these, but these are not incentives. These are just the regular old covers that you might be able to find in those boxes, on those shelves. However your shop displays their books, go check them out and go look. Because even online, some of these can have asking prices up. This cover here, issue 10, $100. Somebody's asking for that. 20, 40. They're not cheap, but you might be able to find them cheap because online prices are one thing. Certain shops, they're not going to price everything to the market. It's just not the nature of a lot of places. Some shops, they know what they know. They know Marvel, they know their DC. Some of this indie stuff might get passed by and overlooked because they just don't care all that much. I don't know. I don't know how your shop prices. I don't want to assume. I just know that's the case in some places that I've visited. So I know sometimes I can find deals if I know where I'm looking. And it doesn't hurt to go looking in the box. If you find what you're looking for, great. If not, didn't hurt to go and check. You never know what you're going to find. But that all said, some of these could be pretty pricey, as I pointed out. If you really want to find some cheap ones that you're probably going to easily find for cheap, well, another run that she did of only a few issues, I think it was like a half dozen issues, she did Ghost, back from Dark Horse. I don't know if you remember Ghost. I think Adam Hughes did those early run covers on Ghost for Dark Horse back in the OG days when Dark Horse wanted to do their own superhero books when they were doing things like X and whatnot. But Ghost, Jenny Frison did a couple of these covers. They're pretty cool looking. That was issue, I think, 5, 6, 7, and 8 here. All right, so maybe it wasn't half dozen. Maybe it's just these 4. But I think these are the covers that you want to, just be mindful of, because you could probably find these in $1 or $2 box. Because I believe I did pick these up personally for like $2 at a shop near me, maybe last year, thereabouts. Or maybe it was 2 years ago. Maybe it was pre-pandemic. I can't remember, but I do remember grabbing these books because I didn't know it at the time. And I was like, this looks like Jenny Frison. This is Jenny Frison. And for $2, I'm all in. And that's to say, these aren't expensive books. You can see here, copies selling online for $7, $3, $13. They're not super pricey. I'm not saying they should be super pricey. I'm just saying if you're interested and you like her art, these are things you can maybe find out there for cheap and go dig out into a box, dig out of a box as well. Even online, 99-cent asking prices, $12, $15. It's, who knows? I mean, you can find these things all over the place, but if you want to pay market, you go ahead. I'm not telling you to. I'm just giving you the market of what these things cost, what they've sold for, what people are asking for them. But that all said, hopefully you enjoy Jenny Frison's art, because I do. And I just got a couple of more that you should just be mindful of. Look for them. Check it out if you can find them. And I say if you can find them because one is a variant. I don't usually cover variants here, but I picked this one up recently, so I wanted to. I got it in that lot because I found a lot of variants of Big Trouble Little China, and one of them is Jenny Frison. This 1 in 20 or 1 in 25. I'm not sure of the ratio. And again, that's not what I normally do here on Hidden Gems, but since I was doing the Jenny Frison run, I figured I would just point this one out. There was no copies of this sold individually recently, nor are there any copies available right now. So could I put this on Ghosts? Maybe. Could put this on Chasing Ghosts, but just for fun, I threw it in here because it's Jack Burton by Jenny Frison. Go ahead, look for it. I think that's a good book to have, and I'm glad I do have one. And that said, another one that you probably can find at a decent price, and I found this for $1 quite a few times. This Sensation comics featuring Wonder Woman is issue 15. It's just a regular old issue of this run, issue 15. Jenny Frison cover, Wonder Woman. Pretty cool. This is before her Wonder Woman run on Rebirth, I believe. So you can just get Jenny Frison doing Wonder Woman. $9, $13 recent copies sold. And then copies available, $12 to $14. Kind of still in that same range. Again, you might find this in $1. I found it before in a dollar bin. I don't know if they're going to be there anymore, but it's just another book just to be aware of in case you could find it for cheap. Because once again, I didn't want to cover her whole library of things to do because I'm sure you know she did that gorgeous run of Wonder Woman covers on Rebirth. All of those B covers for God knows how many issues. All of those Catwoman books, also fantastic. A lot of that stuff you can still find, and you can sometimes find them in dollar bins. So I would recommend grabbing because eventually, maybe like the Hughes Catwoman run of back in the day, some of these runs could become more valuable with collectors, and then they get harder and harder to find as the years go by. So while it might be plentiful now, that may not always be the case. So if you like it, get them now while they're cheap. That's all I'm saying. Now, we're going to move on from the artist retrospective. Again, fan of Jenny Frison. Hopefully you like her art too. Let me know what you think in the comments. But we're going to move on to our next segment, and we're just going to do a little first appearance. I know it's his first appearances, but I'm only going to do one. Well, it's multiple first appearances, but it's all in one book. So I'm doing one comic that covers quite a few. And I was going to cover this on Forgotten first, but it isn't quite forgotten anymore. But there's a point where this got hot, and then it's kind of been forgotten about, and now it might be picking up steam again. So good luck if you can find this one. But I'm talking about All-Star Squadron number 25. I've been looking at all these Infinity Incorporated books. If you've been watching the other shows that I've done, I've mentioned quite a few times because of the early McFarlane art. A lot of first appearances that come through that run from DC. And the first Infinity Incorporated appeared here in this All-Star Squadron number 25. And why this book has gotten hot lately, we'll get to in a minute, but it has multiple characters from that Infinity Incorporated team, as well as these two characters that are pretty important, Jade and Obsidian, Alan Scott's kids, I believe. And these are just characters that we've seen throughout the years through DC, and they will probably be hanging around a little while longer, if ever. Maybe they even get adapted to something. I don't know. Who knows what DC's doing with their film universe, but we do know we're getting Black Adam and the other first appearance, and why this book did get expensive for a short while, then dipped, and then popped it back up. Because I know it dipped because I actually found this in a shop for $8, a few months ago, and it was only $8. And at a time, this was $50 for a little while there. And now we'll find out where it is pretty soon. But the character I'm talking about is Nuklon. No, it's not Nuklon. Granted, he started out as Nuklon, but it is Atom Smasher, who we do know is going to be in that Black Adam movie. So that is probably the biggest draw right now. But considering there's a multitude of other first appearances in here, it's always good when a book has more than one hit in it, because then you keeps it lively. It keeps it going for much longer because there's more opportunities for it to be brought back into people's awareness. Now, as I said, prices on this one now, it's kind of bouncing back up. $25 for raw copies, roundabout, and looks like there's a 9.6 sold for 190. So prices are starting to tick back up a little bit again. Asking prices out there right now in that $20 to kind of $30 range. A bunch of these are at auction, so we'll see where they all end. But again, many first appearances in there. Just be careful, not careful, be mindful of this book. So if you find yourself digging through All-Star Squadron, look for that number 25, because again, who knows? Maybe this will pop even more if this character that we saw in the Black Adam trailer is a hit. I think it's Noah something or other. He was supposed to be He-Man for a time on that Netflix movie, and then they canceled it. But we'll see how this guy does in the DC universe. Now, moving on, we do have a couple of later prints to talk about. I do like the later printings, and I believe I showed these on I showed this one on a pickup recently because I didn't really even know what this was until I found it in a box and said, I'm going to grab this. And this is a second print for Uncanny X-Men 544. I'm a big X-Men fan, so I have all the first prints. I wasn't too up to date in all these second prints, and there are quite a few out there. There's also quite a few Amazing Spider-Mans out there, so I might be dipping into these two pools of second prints a lot going forward, just because there's a lot to cover. And we're going to start here. Uncanny 544, this second print, Greg Land cover. It is pretty cool. It is also a wraparound cover, which you can see here. Dark Phoenix on the back. Check it out. I mean, you got Sinister, you got the villains, Sentinel, Apocalypse. Really cool cover. Then also intermingled with the heroes there with Wolverine and Storm with the Mohawk. Great cover. I like this cover. It looks pretty cool in person. Again, I found it in a back issue box for like cover price, or I think 50 cents over cover. So it was like, I don't know, $3 or $4. Copies recently sold on this one, though. It's like $30, $40. Look, you see the best offer there, except it also $30. Asking prices on it are also in that $40, $50, $85 range raw. I don't know. It is, I guess it's tough to find. I wasn't looking for it. Like I said, I stumbled across this one. So I haven't seen it often. I saw it the one time, liked the price, so I just bought it and brought it home to find that, hey, this book actually does sell pretty well. So that's also, use your instincts. My instincts told me that book was pretty cool. Grab it. And then when I got it home to check, apparently it is pretty valuable. So that's also what I'm trying to help you formulate. You get your mind going, remember a lot of this stuff that I'm telling you, but also use what I'm telling you to make your own educated guesses, because you can't always pull out the phone and check every damn book that you're flipping through a box with. You just can't. It's impractical. It takes too much time, and it takes a lot of the fun out of digging, honestly. Granted, I know you can make yourself a few bucks by doing so. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I just like digging. Just go flip through a box. It takes kind of the fun if you got to constantly look at your phone to check lists and prices, search things on eBay, search through on apps and things like that. It's not always practical to do so. That's why I'm just trying to help you along with your own mental Rolodex, so you can just dig for fun, dig on instinct, grab what you remember, grab what sticks out in your mind, as long as the price is right. Buy what you like. And with that, we're going to move on to the next second print. And this is the Spider-Man one. This is the popular one. So that's why I'm trying to give the newer collectors some information as well, in case they stumble into these things. I'm sure most of you veteran collectors know what this book is. This second print for Amazing Spider-Man 654. This is the first Flash Thompson taking Venom, the Venom character. So you're getting basically first Agent Venom, I guess you would call it. Or, this is a book again. Like I said, this is a pretty expensive book. So I'm just showing it so some of the newer collectors can know what this book is. $150 raw, 150 for an 8.5, and then a 9 for accepted a best offer on $600, which was $530. And then asking prices on this thing, it's asking $200 to $300 raw, $850 for a 9.6. So this is a very pricey book these days. I don't know if it will always stay that way or always be this high, but it is where it is right now. So if you can find this book, even priced in a box, look at those prices, you make that call. So if you find this price for $50, it might be worth grabbing for $50 if you could pull, $200-$300 off of it. So that's another reason why I'm giving you this information, because while these prices may seem pretty high, who knows what you might find when you are out there hunting. You might find it for a price that you're like, you know what, this is expensive, but not nearly as expensive as it could be. So once again, there's a Spider-Man book, and I got another random Spider-Man second print for you, and that is issue 612, this second print, this pretty cool Electro cover from the Gauntlet run, which is also a fun little read when Spidey was put through the Gauntlet. This is a $40 second print, too. As you can see, one sold on June 3rd. So a lot of these rando second prints that you can go and pull out from some of these titles, even the more popular titles, just from the from back in the day, it could be valuable. So again, use your instincts sometimes. Asking price, there's only one out there right now asking $75 on this one. So good luck. Maybe you can find some of these pretty cool later printings. Piggybacking off of this, we're going to hop over to variants real quick. And the variants I want to talk about, I'm going to stick with, again, those lower incentive ratios, if not just B covers. But this week, I do have some 1 in 15s, I believe. And this is that same issue 612. This is an Ed McGuinness Black Cat cover with Spider-Man. But it's only a 1 in 15. So it's potentially still in a box price somewhere. Maybe a pay ratio for it. Maybe less, because that's what it is. This is a ratio type book. $15 a copy sold for back in April. Asking prices on it right now are still only $20 to $25. Yes, there's probably plenty of these out there because it's a low incentive ratio, but it's still pretty cool. It's a pretty cool cover with Ed McGuinness art. Black Cat featured. I mean, there's not a ton. Well, I guess there kind of is these days of Black Cat variants. I was going to say there's not a ton of Black Cat variants, but that's not entirely true. But still, this is a Black Cat variant, and who knows? If we do get her cast, and we get her in something in the Sonyverse, which would make a lot more sense than doing El Muerto. That said, keep an eye on this stuff is all I'm saying. Maybe you find it for cheaper because sometimes these lower incentive ratios, they don't even get marked as ratios. They don't even get priced that way. They're just with the regular issues. Like the shops didn't even pull them out as anything special. Like this next issue, which is another Black Cat 1 in 15. This is for Spider-Man 632. This is that whole the heroic age. I've seen these before. I've grabbed a few of these before. I just grabbed a Punisher recently for a decent price just because, these things kind of stand out and they're, just lower end ratios. So you can generally find them for a pretty decent price. I think I paid $5 for that. That was in the $5 variant box at the one shop near me. So the Black Cat one that we're talking about here, though, 632. This is again $12 is what it's been selling for online. Asking prices about $20 raw, $170 for a 9/8. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. So maybe find this for a decent price and you can just tuck it away. It's just a pretty cool cover. Jay Ancelato, I believe, is the cover artist on this one, if I'm saying his name right. And yeah, so good luck on that one too. Another variant that we can talk about here is this one that I found for really cheap. I don't know why this one is so cheap, but this is Uncanny Avengers number 22. I like this Drax Gamora cover. This is John Tyler Christopher. It's not his usual fare. It's not a negative space. It's not an action figure cover, but it is just a really cool 1 in 15. And this cover, to me, should be more sought after. Well, maybe it is sought after. Maybe it's just cheap. I mean, sometimes books are just cheap because this book sells for 99 cents. 1 in 15, a 99-cent sale back on May 17th. And you think, oh, that's just a weird outlier. Well, it's not. It's not really, because when you look at the copies listed available, it's $3 raw or $13 raw. But you can still get it cheap as $3. And then at the same time, $230 for a 9/8. Might be worth picking up a book for $3 and taking a chance. Maybe you get that 9/8 out of it. Just saying. All that said, though, I just like this cover, and I do have this one. I might even have a couple, but yeah, if I find it for cheap, I just like this cover, and it's a 1 in 15. So good luck. Now, finally, we're going to get to the last segment, which is going to be the oddities. A little bit of an oddball segment section here, and I want to say it was Darth Lopez who recommended doing this. I can't remember. I could be wrong in who recommended this topic, but I do have quite a few, and we'll come back to these again. But we're going to just dip in for a few from the Marvel Age. There are actually a lot. There are a lot of Marvel Age books that you think I mean, I flipped past these in the dollar bins and quarter bins for so long, just ignoring them because they're like previews. It's not really like a full-on comic book, but there's like a previews, and they are what they are. So you're going to get a lot of first appearance previews, however you want to. There's still a collectible. There's a market for this stuff. I don't want to get into the whole argument over what's a first, what's not a first. It doesn't count. This counts, doesn't count. That's not what I'm here to do. I don't care. I don't care all that much. I mean, you guys can argue all you want. I like collecting stuff, and if the price is right, I will buy it and I will collect it. But at the same time, I'm not gonna carry the flag one side or the other of what we should be putting our money towards. Well, I don't want to collect previews. I personally don't collect a lot of previews because I just don't have the room to collect everything. But if I do find stuff for cheap, yeah, I'll grab it and I'll tuck it away because I like stuff. And here are just a few that, in case you come across them, they could be worth your effort. Marvel Age number 90. You could probably guess why this one does pretty well. In part, we have Spider-Man. McFarlane cover. I believe we're getting a tease for Spider-Man in this one, as well as some Jim Lee interview inside as well. This thing does all right. Sold copies, $10.50 at auction on June 12th, sure. But look at those 9/8 sales. 9/8, $525. That's crazy. Granted, 9/8 in a Marvel Age is probably going to be pretty tough, but $500 9/8, it could be worth your effort to go look for this book. Even if you can find it as cheap as $10 at auction. But asking prices, $20, $45, 9/8 at auction is currently at was at $237.50. This one's probably ended by now. Because I actually did some of this research a couple of days ago. So I made a little bit of stale, but it is what it is. I gotta do what I can do to get this stuff out to you guys. But that's one you should definitely be aware of, as well as the next issue, issue 91, which has a pretty cool Ron Lim Thanos cover and Silver Surfer. This is the age that I remember collecting. This is the stuff that really drew me in. This Infinity Gauntlet run is what brought me really into comics. So I'm going to always look for stuff like this. So I've seen this. I've grabbed this one out of dollar bins quite a few times just because it stands out, even though it's a Marvel Age. And it is all right. I mean, yes, you can find it as cheap as $3, but you can also see it sell for as high as $37. So who knows? Asking prices on this one as well could be $9-10. Pretty average for the most part for that one. So if you can find it for like $1 in a cheap box, you might do all right, because yeah, it's like $10 book online. You can sometimes get a little bit more for it depending on the timing. Also, kind of in this same range, and a book that a lot of people gravitate towards is this 5-page preview of Darkhawk. So a lot of people like this book for the first appearance of Darkhawk and not Darkhawk 1. I don't care. If you want to buy this, go ahead. Buy this. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to judge how you collect. It is a preview. Marvel Age is like a preview book. So it's a preview, and it did come first. So yeah, you're right. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to go and spend some of these prices on it, though, because this one is a little pricey. $550 for a 9.8. $40 to $70 raw. I don't like Darkhawk that much, but that's just me. Available copies, again, $50, $100 raw, $150 for a 9.4. This is one, if you can stumble into this one for a decent price, you might want to pay attention to it, because there are a lot of Darkhawk fans out there. There really are. I know sometimes people think of it as a joke, but there really are a lot of Darkhawk fans out there, and this is something that will probably last a while. More recent heat might be attributed to the next one that I got here in this Marvel Age, is the Toxic Avenger, because we are getting a Toxic Avenger movie apparently coming soon. So this Marvel Age preview is another one that people have been gravitating towards of late, this issue 98. So this has been selling recently for $35, $45, $450 for a 9.8. Yes, for Marvel Age books. Available copies, $50, $60 raw, $140 for a 9.4. For a Marvel Age book, just because it's a preview of the Toxic Avenger. It is what it is. I think I got one more for you, and I do like this one just because I think it's pretty cool. I like these types of covers too, where our artist draws themselves drawing characters, and this is Jim Lee drawing the X-Men. So I think this is a fun one, and I have found this one again, dollar bins. I found this a few times. I think it's really cool, and this one does okay. This one does okay as well. This on $40, they accepted. No, I'm sorry, that goes down there. Yeah, $40, and then another $40 ask where they accepted 30. The price should be on the one below, not the one above. But available copies, $30, $40, $300 for a 9.8. I'm telling you, 9.8 Marvel Ages are expensive. You see a huge price jump on them, because I mean, look at the difference: $300, $400, $500 for some of these. But that. No, good luck. Good luck getting that 9.8 in a Marvel Age. I do have one more. I thought I might have had one more, and I do. One last Marvel Age to cover, getting near this kind of range in the run. Again, we just looked at the 90s through like the 120s, because this is issue 114 for Spider-Man's 30th anniversary. Mark Bagley, ton of people on the cover, and I think a lot of people like this one because I believe this is an early Carnage appearance on that cover there. You can see him all the way in the back behind Electro. There's Carnage. So it's kind of a sneak peek, I guess, at Carnage. And it's gotten some people to throw money down on it. First preview was Spider-Man 2099. People listed as well. I don't know. $30, $40 raw, $425 for a 9.8. I'm telling you, these 9.8 Marvel Ages. In the market right now, asking, again, $30, $45, $500 for a 9.8. So you get these early appearances of these Spider-Man characters in preview. So if that's your thing, these are books to keep an eye out for. But even if that's not your thing, in case you come across them, pay attention, because there is a market for these. And maybe you might not like it, but if the price is right, you might as well buy it and get it to a person who is looking for it. And with that, that's all I got for you this week. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and hopefully you're still enjoying this series. I still got a ton of books to cover, a lot of stuff. I'm happy to take recommendations if you got them. Put them in the comment section. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I appreciate all of you. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And I still got plenty more content on the way. So hopefully you're still enjoying it. And I will see you guys soon with some more stuff. Later.